Hi, welcome back to the organizing tip today. Today I'm going to give you some super quick tips to organizing your paperwork. The reason I'm covering paperwork today is because I get a lot of people who are like, paperwork is the biggest issue in my house. And it's true. Paper clutter is the number one clutter area in most people's houses because people just don't know what to do with it, where to store it, what to keep, what not to keep, and it's so easy to pile. Plus, we get such an obnoxious amount of paper every single day. So here's some really quick things that you should do to keep your paper clutter under control. The number one thing to keep your paper clutter under control is to separate your short and long-term filing systems. For a short-term filing system, that is just things that you get on a monthly basis, papers that you need to, bills you need to pay. I like to keep my short-term filing system in one of these accordion file folders because it's a good visual reminder for me at the end of the year to purge, to make room for the next year. I actually always have two of these on the go. I have one for this year and one for the past year. So at the end here coming up of 2012, what I'm going to do is turn my 2011 into my 2013 and purge everything that's inside. Now, of course, make sure that you take out your tax information, which is usually probably removed anyways because you filed your taxes. Make sure you take that out before, obviously, you purge. You want to keep your tax stuff for 7 years, but there's no reason to keep your monthly hydro bills, your water bills, none of that, really. Have you ever looked back to see what your hydro bill was 5 years ago? Of course not. So keeping those papers is a waste. If you really needed to get to them, you could always call the hydro company and request a back copy. So that's a great way of just eliminating a lot of clutter. That way is keeping your short-term system separate and remembering at the end of the year to purge your short-term system. Your long-term system, you want to keep things like files. It's all right, go ahead. You want to keep your long-term files like any legal information, contracts, I don't know, everybody's different. Your yearly RSP statements, things that you think you should need. Things you don't need are monthly bills. And a lot of people hold on to them. I was actually at a client's house and she had like a stack of papers. It was insane, covering all her corners in her bedroom. In those were cards and like bills and statements and kids' artwork, and basically when things came into the house that day, she'd put it on top of the pile, and then the next day put it on top of the pile, put it on top of the pile. It was insanity. And so she said to me as we were going through it, oh, I don't need all this stuff. So we were shredding and we'd come across a card and she'd say, oh, well, I like holding on to cards, but then why is it in with your bills? That's insanity. So we created her a separate little box, a little card keepsake box. So when she got a card, she knew that's where it went. When she got a bill, she knew it went in the short term. When she got, say, a contract or something, she knew it went in her long-term filing system, where she kept things like tax information and other things you need to keep for a long period of time. Other day-to-day papers that you get all the time are like kids' school newsletters. There's no reason to keep more than 1 month's newsletter. But where do you keep it? A lot of the times people put that stuff up on the fridge or bulletin boards and it creates a lot of visual clutter. So I like keeping that there you go, buddy. I like keeping it in a binder. I also know a lot of people who like keeping it in a file box right on their counter and then labeling it for each different activity that they want to keep. Speaking of kids have a lot of stuff, like schedules for different things they're doing. My daughters do soccer and dance and gymnastics and it's craziness. So keeping that type of schedule, I also keep that in my binder. But again, you can keep it in a file box if that's a better way. Now, artwork. Kids' artwork, oh my lord! They come home with so many treasures, don't they? You want to keep all of it. I do not keep all of it. I got to admit, we do display the current ones, and then if they're really special, we put them in their binder. I have one binder for each child for each year. And in it I put things like their report cards and special things they bring home from school, school pictures, and of course their artwork. Then at the end of the year I have a special keepsake. I can put the year on the outside, and each year I have a special keepsake memory with doing very minimal work and having a place to store away that clutter. If you like keeping more than can fit in a 1-inch binder, you can always take digital pictures of them and have one of those great photo books made. You can fit a lot of kids' artwork in a photo book without having to keep it all. Yeah, it's sad at first, throwing those things in the garbage. Cover your ears, Abby. But it's okay. There's never going to be enough room in your house for all those treasures, and I promise you, when they are 30 years old, they are not going to want their kindergarten stuff that they made for you, and you are not going to want to hold on to 8 years of every tiny scrap piece of paper they bring home either. So make the decisions, purge today, purge some paper. If you have tons of paper, and I've seen it where they literally have 10 years worth of hydro bills, it might be worth hiring a company like Shred It to come and just put things in boxes and have another company shred it instead of sitting there shredding. Or you can have a bonfire in the backyard. Not environmentally friendly, but effective. Anyways, that's your tip. We'll see you next time.